Omonia Nicosia 2, Manchester United 3. All is well that ends well, Janusz Michallik. But what did you make of Manchester United's performance?
Well, I mean, obviously it wasn't convincing. And I suppose, that second goal for Omonia kind of puts a different spin on it, right? Because defensively questions, I think if it ended 3-1, you could almost look past the first half because that was embarrassing. Not necessarily because United didn't play terribly, but I think the result, right? The goal being scored, being the only shot on goal, really domination from Manchester United that they couldn't turn into a goal in an easy game. Ultimately, the two substitutions, Marcus Rashford came in, couple goals and an assist as well. Anthony Martial as well, scoring a goal. I think that would have been they've solved it in the second half. They still have, I suppose, but the second goal, that bad touch from Lindelof wasn't really good. I think we'll put a bad taste into it. I think if you're at Ten Hag, if you're Manchester United supporter, ultimately, I think you look at it as 3 points and you look past it because they had to bounce. They did. But as we've said, not convincing at all.
It was all about the result today, but listening to the commentary, Robbie Savage was saying this is a team that United should be beating by 4 or 5, and then he changed his mind to 2 or 3, and then at half-time he's talking about, well, just win the game now. Why did Manchester United end up in the predicament they ended up in at half-time? Because, as you said, they played quite well in the first half, loads of the ball, but very sloppy in possession when they lost it and they conceded.
I think the way I looked at it from the beginning, when you saw the starting lineup, right, you said to yourself, okay, well played, strong. Some would say that anyway. Strong lineup, respectful to the opponent and all of that. But I think hindsight, and not just because that Rashford came in and Martial, I think overall there were players that probably shouldn't be there in the first place. And again, it's easy to say something about Malacia, but let's be honest, he hasn't been great as of late. Luke Shaw actually uptick in form. You saw that when he was playing for England during the international break. I think you would have given him a run. I look at somebody like Jadon Sancho, who's been really poor. I looked at his stats in the first half, and I wasn't surprised if he was taken off. Yet stats were very good because you look at 21 pass attempts, all completed, right? Couple good passes leading into a chance as well. But then I looked at his dribbling. Zero attempts to dribble, right? I mean, Jadon Sancho is not there to pass the ball. Jadon Sancho is there to beat players and create situations for others and for himself as well. So sometimes you have to be careful with that. So I suspect Eriksen and Bruno Fernandes, did they absolutely have to be there from the beginning? Probably not. One bright spot, probably Casemiro, because we've been calling for him, and I thought his stats were good. When I looked at winning the ball, I think he won 5 out of 6 tackles there as well. Very, very strong in the air, and I think the player that I think you agree that should be there a little bit more often. So I think we're going to see him there going forward. At least you hope for.
What does it tell us that it was down to the subs, Rashford and Martial, to get the goals when the starters, and you have just admitted, like most of us thought, that's a strong lineup. The starters didn't get it done. They needed some impetus from the bench to ultimately turn that game around in Manchester United's favour.
Well, that's what substitutes supposed to do, right? I mean, you want to come in, you want to make an impact. And I think you look at it not necessarily as a negative, and I know where you're leading with this, not as a negative, but I think it's a positive that Marcus Rashford had a very good game in a short period of time because 2 very good goals, well taken. That second one, just the fact that he was the one that was breaking, right? I still think that Cristiano Ronaldo was shooting that ball, but, Rashford started the play and finished it on the far post, didn't give up on it, didn't just assume that that maybe Ronaldo will do something special with it. The combination for Martial goal with Rashford, that was pretty nice as well. So that's the positive. The negative, I don't know if it's a negative, but it just goes to show that Cristiano Ronaldo does not deserve to start games, right? I'm going to stop short of saying his career is over in any way because I don't hope for that. He's a legend, obviously. I think he's trying to score that 700th goal for himself. He's had a sitter that he put against the post there. but you could clearly see, I mean, he's got one goal this entire season right now. And as I've said it before, I'll say it again. I don't think Manchester United at this stage of that rebuild owe him anything, really. I mean, he was a player, or he's a player that's been desperately trying to leave Manchester United in the offseason. And maybe the changes prove that.
Okay. You say he doesn't deserve to start. What's the point of him being at Manchester United? Why don't they just try and get rid of him in January and do a deal? Because they're going to have to do something to get rid of him.
I think they're playing the right game. I think Ten Hag is saying the right words. As I've said, Cristiano Ronaldo, he's always been a professional. And so I see that his effort is always there. That's nothing against Cristiano Ronaldo. I mean, he did have his chances. He wasn't the worst player on the pitch by any chance. I mean, he was there or thereabout, looking to score that goal in dangerous situations. But I think, as I've said, he wanted to leave. I think Ten Hag ultimately knows that going forward, there's probably no place for Cristiano Ronaldo because his name weighs on him, weighs on the team as well. And nothing wrong with that. What an incredible career. If he finds a club, I think they'll find a solution for him.
So what did Manchester United do going forward as far as middle to front is concerned? Who's the main striker? Who should start wide and who should be in behind, starting Sunday at Everton?
Well, I think you look at Rashford with this performance, and Martial, and I've mentioned Jadon Sancho struggling a little bit, so you can have Rashford wide, although I think Ten Hag may try to kind of play him through the middle more often than not. But I think with Martial, you may just see both of them on the pitch. And look, when you look at Manchester United, I think I don't think we're shocked that the form is so up and down. Against Manchester City, it can happen to anybody. Yes, it's embarrassing. It's a derby. It shouldn't happen. But I think this is a Manchester United that you're going to see the swings of form or swings in results like this. Let's not forget, they've had a tough schedule so far. They've played Arsenal. They've played Liverpool. They've played Manchester City. The schedule is getting tougher and tougher. I was looking here, Everton, the Newcastle, Spurs, and Chelsea. So if they get through that in decent shape, you could make the case that after that, it's a lot easier if you compare the clubs as well. But, they still have to do it. So my answer to that is still Rashford and Martial. They've deserved it. They've earned it. Martial came against Manchester City and scored a couple goals. That's 3 goals in like 30 minutes of playing time.
What about the other end of the pitch? Because you can't blame the concession of 2 goals on Harry Maguire, can you?
No, that is an issue because I think there's enough people out there that think that Lisandro Martinez has been better. I think he's been just okay. Nothing special from him. Yes, there was a bounce, I suppose. I think it was in that game against Liverpool, but that's been a while ago. I think he's just okay. Nothing more. Again, today he was passing, he was doing the right things, but I think Omonia have allowed Manchester United to do just about everything in that first half anyway. So that's an issue. Lindelof, again, that's a chance. Caused them a goal, wasn't special in this game. So we have some problems. Varane injured, obviously, maybe, he may, I don't know the extent of the injury there, but there's some issue in the center of defense. That is for sure. And as we've said, Malacia drop off in form, but Luke Shaw can come in. Dalot up and down. So certainly not a steady back four by any means.
Okay, let's wrap this one up. We wanted to see if Manchester United could bounce back from the heavy defeat against Manchester City. They did as far as the result was concerned in Cyprus. Did they do so as far as the performance was concerned?
Mark, no, as I said, an indifferent one, but I think this was all about the result here because you have to look at this as this particular competition. And I think the win here goes a long way. They will get Omonia next week as well. That means if you don't think they're through already, they will certainly take care of business. And what that means is peace of mind. And that's important because it will allow Ten Hag now not to worry about Europa League and just concentrate on this very difficult schedule that's still ahead of them in the Premier League. So I think they will look at that and they will continue to work on the performance because it's going to have to be much, much better, especially in the Premier League.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.